Alex, man, it's a pleasure to meet you. How you going today?
I'm very happy to be here, so thank you so much.
Man, thank you for taking the time to chat. I really appreciate it. I'm very quite new to a lot of anime. Like over the last probably 2 or 3 years, I've been trying to find new things, and this was my first experience with solo leveling. And you've made a fan out of me, man. This is an awesome a recollection of that first season. But I'm curious to know, sort of, obviously, with your process in finding Jinwoo, the voice of him. What were the characteristics that you either saw in the script, or even if the physical design of the character, that sort of informed decisions you make about finding his voice?
I think one of the important things we kept in mind was his transformation, in terms of where he was going to go, the person he was going to be, and so that gave us a lot to think about where he would start or what would a comfortable place for him to start would be vocally. But character wise, I feel that something that I really enjoyed about this character in particular is that he's not like other anime protagonists or heroes. He's not even I wouldn't even call him a hero, actually. I mean, he does do a very noble sacrifice in the first episode where
Mhm.
he lets his friends get out safely so that he could take the fall. But you could tell
Mm.
that he immediately regretted it after,
Sure.
because he thought about himself and his family and what that would mean for his family if he was dead. And
Mm.
so I think he's a victim of circumstance. And just based on that fact and the fact that the world building had made everything so uh, grim and grounded, that really helped us find the tone for this character. And I was really happy to take this naturalistic approach to the performance and kind of give it a lot more of myself in terms of injecting my own DNA into it than I would for a lot of other characters. Like, I tried to make him sound a lot like me, a lot like how I
Mm.
talk, a lot of my mannerisms, and a lot of the word choices that I use. So I feel that the setting and then also the story allowed me to just add a lot of that, which was super fun for me as a performer to just put a lot of myself into a character.
I think it's super fun for us as the audience. I feel like, especially with voice acting, you can really hear that. And I've spoken to voice actors before who talk so much about the intense physicality, and I've seen the behind the scenes video of you doing the screams and how much you push your body through that and whatnot. And I saw you putting pressure on your chest to find certain sounds and stuff, like manipulating your body to find sounds. I'm curious to know what the preparation for you is like in those moments, and sort of then what are the keys to finding a really good yell like the ones we hear from this show and this
I
movie.
think for me, that stuff is actually the easiest stuff to
Wow.
do,
All right.
'cause, I've been doing this for many years, 5,
Mm.
6 years. I've done a lot of video games, I've done a lot of cartoons, a lot of fighting games and stuff like that,
Right.
and battle efforts, they're it's like breathing at this point. So for me, I've had a many years to build up the tools and the
Mm.
arsenal needed to deliver on fight scenes and do a good job, at least try to do a good job on a lot of
Mm.
very physically intensive scenes. It's all
Sure.
about breath support and voice control and pacing yourself throughout these long sessions. But that's kind of easy,
Right.
because I think the harder thing to do is actually nail the other moments, like the moments that speak to the character or the moments that require a lot of really intricate dialogue that needs to be sold a certain way. The fight
Interesting.
scenes are animated beautifully, and I think even if I did a really bad job on them, I think the animation could could more than enough make up for it. So I'm not too worried about those moments, even though I still try my very best to make them as impactful as the animation deserves. But I truly think those are some of the easier things that we do on this show, crazy as it looks on screen.
Well, I kind of want to follow on two threads from that, because you talked about sort of finding those smaller moments, those more nuanced moments about Jinwoo, and we are set in these incredible fantasy worlds. But how important is it to you when you find characters who have that substance and somewhat grounded elements about them that do make them human? Does that interest you as an actor, finding and really getting in deep into those sorts of more intricate nuances about characters?
Absolutely. I think my favorite thing about being an actor is doing character studies, you know.
Right.
Um uh, any story that has a character who goes through a lot of changes or a really, you know, a long journey of self-discovery or regression, whatever it may be, self-destruction. I find that truly fascinating, and it gives me a lot of opportunity as an actor to really kind of just open up my own knowledge of life and everything that I've personally gone through and just see what I can inject into those moments. But yeah, no, I think that's the most fun part about this character for me. Sorry, my
And
cat
then
is just
no,
growling.
no, it's all good. um, the other aspect of what your previous answer was how incredible the animation is, and how fantastic it and big and bold, and Solo Leveling has absolutely got some insane action scenes. And it's crazy because to me, the journey I've been on with anime, it does feel like cinematic television. It feels like so many of these shows feel like they deserve to be seen on the big screen. So when you did find out that Solo Leveling was getting recut to be played in cinemas, what was that initial reaction like? And are you excited to see know that people will be seeing it on the big
I
screen as
was
well?
super stoked because during the throughout working on the first season, we
Mm,
had a couple moments where I was involved in some of the finer details of production, as in listening to mixes to make sure that we had the right sound effects or this and that here and there, or the voice had a certain effect to it. And I remember one of those days, our sound mixer Gino took me to his mixing room, and he has
mm.
a surround sound system like a movie theater. And I had already seen the episode on my phone and my laptop, but he was like, "Oh, let me show you how it sounds in the mix room." And when he played it for me, and the sound effects and the voice just came blasting into my ears, and the whole ground was shaking, I was like, "That's just a completely different experience." And I
It's
haven't seen it in theaters yet, but I hope that experience can be recaptured in the movie theaters. And I'm very
mm.
excited to hear if they have that movie mix in there. But I just find watching something like that through movie speakers and a big screen is a completely different experience, and I really can't wait to see some of the high octane action sequences in theaters, so I'm very excited for this weekend.
It's so awesome. I'm so glad it's getting a cinema release for it. I'd love to sort of talk more about sort of your voice acting and career as well, because I guess in the same way that every time Jinwoo has a battle, he gets stronger and he gets better, and I can only assume it's the exact same when it comes to voice acting. The more you do it, the more you find out about your strengths and sometimes even weaknesses. So I'm curious to know how each project and each character that you've done has sort of informed decisions or made you better as a voice acting artist.
I mean, there's a lot of ups and downs in this
Mm,
career. Every anime character I've done has taught me something different, whether it's about my own voice, like the limits of my own voice, how much I can scream in a day, how much you know, how much my range can fluctuate in a day. It's also taught me about what it's like to work with different directors, different approaches, also different approaches to the script, and it's also taught me about fan reaction. You just learn something new from every project. I mean, it's there for you to see it if you want to, or you can just completely ignore it. But for me, I like to take in every bit of information that's available to me, whether that's pre-production, post-production, fan reaction, anything like that. But it's definitely, you know, and you also learn through the process because, you know, it seems glamorous from the other side, just booking all these
sure.
big roles and getting to
Mm,
act in these big titles, but, it's not always easy because, every time I get a big job, it's not like it's handed to me. You know,
yeah.
I have to fight off 100 other actors, 1,000 actors, many, many actors who also want the same job, and I've had to do that for every role in my career, which is just to, fight for my right to play the character, and so there are hundreds of jobs per month that I don't get. There are
Yeah.
thousands, tens of thousands of roles a year that I don't get. So there's always, you know, there's always something to learn about yourself. And I think definitely this career requires a lot of what is it? It's mental resilience.
Yeah, or is it like perseverance and
Mhm,
resilience, right?
perseverance,
Yeah.
really, really thick skin, so, yeah.
Yeah. That's incredible insight, man. Thank you for sharing that. I really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
absolutely.
I kind of want to I maybe have a bit of fun with it as well. And I guess in the spirit of the ranking system within solo leveling, I'd love to get an idea of anyone you might look up to. Who are some of your S tier voice artists that you might look up to, that you've worked with, who you think are genuine game changers at the moment in the industry?
Oh, I mean, I've always loved ever since I was younger, I've always loved Yuri. Yuri Lowenthal has
Yeah,
always been my favorite, alongside Johnny Young Bosch, which is why it meant so much to me when he texted me and he was like, "Hey, me and my kid are watching Solo Leveling and you're doing a great job." And I was like, "Oh, wow,
it's
that's
awesome.
amazing." And Chris Sabat, who's also one of my heroes, also did the same thing. He also gave me one of my first jobs as well. So when he texted me and he said that he really enjoyed the show, I was like, "Wow, that means a lot." And he was even kind enough to throw a rap party for me and for the show at his house. So we had a really
That's awesome.
cool party with the rest of the cast there, and some really nice food. And then he was playing the whole show on the TV. So no, it's a very awesome, sometimes people are like, "Don't meet your heroes," and I agree. But for
Sure.
me,
Yeah.
I've had some really amazing heroes that I was nervous about meeting, but in the end, they all seem to be, well, not all of them, but the ones that I look up to the most are all very much amazing people.
That's incredible. I'll close out on this, Alex, and obviously with Reawakening hitting cinemas and sort of bridging into season two, I'm curious to know that what some of the elements of Jimmy you were excited to explore in season two. Was there anything that you sort of left him in season one, but you went, I'm excited to find out more about him in season two, and will fans get to see that? I guess.
I think season 1 was doing a lot of setup work in the world building, so we were
Mm,
meeting a lot of the key players in season 2, and they briefly interacted with Jinwoo, but not to the
mm,
extent that they're gonna be doing in season 2. So I'm super excited to see his interactions between him and the rest of the cast on the show, 'cause, those are gonna be some very, very fun moments, and you can see a little bit of a teaser of that at the very end of Reawakening. But,
mm.
I'm excited to see that. I'm also excited to see him interact with his own shadows because they're not just
Yeah.
mindless soldiers. They also have very fun personalities. So that's gonna be super fun as well to see a more lighthearted side of him with his own army, through his journey. So, yeah, lots of cool non-solo interactions coming up that I'm super stoked for.
Well, as a new fan to the show and with this film, I'm excited to see it as well. But Alex, thank you so much for your time, man. I know we were going to do this last week, and you lost your voice, so I hope you're doing all right. I hope
Thank you.
you're recovering well, and I hope we get to do this again. This was such a fascinating chat. So thanks for taking the time to
For
chat. I really
sure. Thank
appreciate it.
you.